I've owned SV Corsair since September 2013. At the time I bought her, it was very much my plan to spend a couple of years sailing on the bay. I didn't know if SV Corsair would be the right boat to really fulfill my dreams of crossing oceans and seeking new. But I knew she was a sturdy boat, and I thought, well, give it a couple of years on the bay, cruise up and down the Chesapeake Bay, cruise south down to the Albemarle and Roanoke Sounds, sail as much as I could and see if this was something that I really loved to do. And over that time decide whether SV Corsair is the right boat. And I think she could be, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done to really get SV Corsair ready to cross an ocean and to be safe far offshore. This boat is really set up for short trips, weekend trips, coastal cruising. It doesn't have radar. It doesn't have a lot of sophisticated electronics. It's got an original engine. And there's some, obviously, with a 36-year-old boat, there's some things that you would want to do to ensure that you were safe offshore. So with that in mind, I thought I'd take you for a little tour again of the boat, but this time to talk about things that I would have to do or I would like to do if I'm going to cast off the lines aboard SV Corsair and sail offshore, across oceans, and beyond horizons. Some of these upgrades would be purely for comfort, but most of them are for safety or performance. But come along and let's have a look, and I look forward to hearing your opinions. This is the V-berth aboard SV Corsair. I'm pretty sure these are the original cushions. I would want to get some proper mattresses made for the V-berth. V-berth is nice and large, it's got plenty of room, it's quite comfortable. I got a lot of storage, but sleeping in there every night for several years on end would be much more comfortable with. Same consideration applies to the settee cushions. As you can see, they're pretty bagged out, and they're not that comfortable. They're a bit thinner than the cushions in the V-berth. So yeah, I'd like to get new foam, get new fabric, and have something a bit more comfortable, particularly since these two settees are going to be the underway berths in most cases. And then entering the quarter cabin, or the aft cabin, same story here. Original cushions, original fabric. Really would want a proper mattress back here as well. And actually this would be the underway berth. Got great communication there to the cockpit through that port light right there. But yeah, proper mattress would be required. Communication setup, all I have is VHF. I don't even have AIS, so I think at a minimum I'd replace this ICOM VHF with a AIS capable VHF. In other words, a VHF transceiver that has an AIS receiver built in, and then network that to a chart plotter. I'd also want to have some mechanism by which I could relay the chart plotter data to the interior of the boat. Maybe that would be by Wi-Fi, just to an iPad or an iPhone, or perhaps another chart plotter maybe installed down here on this, what might pass for a nav station. Could mount something there. This is my mast step. Well, no, this is a plate through which the mast passes, and it's actually stepped on the keel underneath this plate. And as you can see, there's some water in there, and that hole there is meant to drain that water into the bilge, but quite often it's clogged up with sediment and I have to take something to get it out, and that's not good. You can see here that there's some actual damage that's occurred over the years. That was before I bought the boat, because of water getting in or overflowing from this step. So I think we would have to unstep the mast and take some corrective action. Also, there's some fair amount of corrosion that's taking place there around the stainless steel, where the stainless steel bolts pass through. In here before you lies one of my largest conundrums. It's the original Perkins 4108, an absolutely outstanding marine diesel. Unfortunately, these Perkins 4108s are a lot like Harleys. In other words, if they're not leaking oil, you're out of oil. This one has a particularly bad leak from the main seal. And while it starts up and it runs like a champ, I would be a little nervous if I was going on a long trip with this engine. And so that raises a question of repower, and do I repower with a rebuilt Perkins 4108 and therefore all the peripherals sort of bolt right on. Transmission doesn't have to be changed, the shaft's okay, motor mounts are in the right place. Or do I go to a Beta or a Yanmar, and that means changing the transmission, the shaft, re-engineering the mounts. That's a lot of investment for a 36-year-old boat. So out on deck, you can see what I've got here is just a jury rig really for my chart plotter. I've got a 12-volt outlet down here. Previous owner mounted under the, mounted two of them underneath the cup holder. And so I just plug that in and take the chart plotter on and off when I need it. And so it's fine for the Chesapeake Bay, but I wonder what would happen if a big wave washed by. It's not ideal. I'd also probably want to put some sort of radar. I assume I wouldn't want radar. The minimum AIS, but radar for, not so much for seeing other ships, but ensuring they saw me. And those days when it's when there's no visibility, it's very foggy. Radar could be tremendously beneficial, so I think I would want radar as well. Also only have a Raymarine autopilot. It's a hydraulic ram. It's a good autopilot, but they have challenges controlling the boat downwind, and offshore takes a lot of power. So consideration there is for some alternative self-steering mechanism, whether a wind vane or... And then I don't know if I like the idea of a wind vane cluttering up the look of the boat. There's a challenge rigging there. For a minute. This is a very old furler. I suspect it's probably original as well. I need to change that. Change the furler. I've got this awesome bronze manual windlass that I've used like once. Normally when I anchor, I just use the auxiliary anchor, which has about 25 feet of chain, and the rest is rope rode, secured here in this chain locker, or this anchor locker. But the primary CQR has like 200 feet of chain rode, which I obviously need to have that checked as well. The question is, do you upgrade to electric windlass? Do you need an electric windlass? I'm a pretty big guy. I can haul that up myself. But getting older, so how long will I be able to do that? I also don't know the condition of the chain plates. Now the chain plates are almost entirely external except for where they pass through the teak cap rail, but that's where problems arise, and I don't know if those chain plates have ever been removed. I don't know if they've ever been changed. I have no information on the age of the chain plates. Same thing for the standing rigging, and it's starting to show a little bit of wear. There's no candy caning, there's no significant rust, but again, if you're going to sail a boat around the world, you want to be confident in your rigging, and so I think we'd be looking to re-rig the boat, and that again that's not cheap. I've already ordered new sails. I think the sails on this boat may be original as well. I've ordered new sails, Ullman sails, and Deltaville is going to be putting them on in a month or so. So that I'm excited about, and as you may know, I changed a lot of the running rigging. When I bought the boat, I had this boom bang installed. I got rid of a lot of the old blocks, had newer blocks put on. I think they're generally in good condition. I would do a individual inspection of each one and then take a decision. Then from a comfort standpoint, I do have a bimini for this boat. You can see the frame for it right there. It's folded up. The bimini zips right in here. Bimini zips right in there and then comes up a little bit, but it stops. It has to stop. Bimini has to stop right here because the main sheet and the Traveler are back here, and I love having the main sheet and the Traveler back here because it's very easy to dump wind if you need to and adjust the main sheet. But it does any design you'd want to come up with for a more enclosed cockpit, which I think would be a real plus if I was cruising full time. So I need to think about how I would how to rig something up anyway, at least three-sided. So a more durable or more sturdy bimini with side curtains at least, and maybe the ability to close it up, you know, along the line there so it doesn't interfere with the main sheet. I don't know. So let me know what you think about that. So there you have it. There's an overview of the boat and some of my thoughts about the upgrades that I need to make to get her ready to really go offshore. You know, yeah, sure, I can sail down the bay, no problem. I can sail, you know, probably a couple days near shore in the appropriate weather conditions. But in order to be really ready to go, you know, there's systems that are missing. Some things I didn't even mention. Think about an EPIRB, life raft. Those are sort of things that you know, would absolutely have to have. Yeah. So give me your thoughts and what you would do with the boat. That'd be very interesting for me to hear about where you would focus your attention, what you would see as most important in terms of preparing the boat to go offshore.